Right, so today we're going to be diving deep into NVIDIA's brand new AI model called Sana,
Oh, yeah.
and it's
Mm.
all about 4K image creation accessible to basically everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Like imagine just whipping up some really high-res visuals just on your laptop.
Right.
You don't need some crazy supercomputer
Oh,
anymore.
I know. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Really levels the playing field for people.
Yeah, and what's really cool about this is it's not just about making things easy. It's actually about speed, too.
Absolutely.
The source material that we read talked about Santa being able to pump out a 24 by 124 image in less than a second.
Yeah, under a second on just a regular laptop.
Crazy.
It's
I
mind-blowing.
mean, that's basically real time, right?
That's real time. Yeah, you can iterate on your ideas so quickly. You
Yeah.
can just see your vision come to life right in front of you.
Okay, so let's break it down. Like, how does Santa actually do this?
Yeah.
So in the source material, there was mention of a linear diffusion transformer and a deep compression autoencoder, which both sound like they're right out of a sci-fi movie.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
We can break it down, though.
Yeah, please.
So the linear diffusion transformer, that's like the brains of the operation.
Yeah, okay.
That's the neural network that's really good at image generation.
So like a really skilled artist?
Yeah, think of it like an artist that studied thousands and thousands of images
Yeah.
and has really picked up on the patterns and relationships.
So it's kind of learning the language of images,
Exactly. It's learning the visual language.
like how we learn how to speak.
Yeah, just like we learn to speak by listening to others. It's learning to see by looking at other images.
So it's not just like taking little bits and pieces and just like mashing them together.
Right.
It's actually like understanding what it's looking at.
Yeah, it's understanding the structures and the relationships within the images.
Okay.
And so once it has that visual vocabulary, then it can start creating its own sentences, which are brand new images in this case.
Okay, so that makes sense. But how does it handle these huge 4K images?
Yeah, so that's where the Deep Compression Autoencoder comes in.
Right.
So if you imagine trying to fit an entire library into a backpack,
Oh, wow.
you would need some really, really good compression skills.
Yeah, you'd have to be very selective about what you take.
Yeah. And so that's what the Deep Compression Autoencoder does. It takes all this data that makes up a 4K image and condenses it down.
Wow.
It preserves the essential information,
Okay.
but it gets rid of everything that it doesn't need.
So it's making like a super efficient summary of the data.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And the amazing part is that the compression is so good that the final image quality doesn't suffer.
Right.
So you get all the detail and resolution of 4K without needing a supercomputer to handle it.
So speaking of supercomputers,
Mm.
the source material talked about how Sana can run on a regular laptop, but then it also talked about the development environment using a cluster of 8 GTX 3090 GPUs.
Right.
Which sounds very intense.
It's quite a setup, yeah.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show how much power goes into creating these models. But
Yeah.
the beauty of Sana is that you don't need that to use it.
Right.
NVIDIA has done an amazing job making this accessible.
Okay, so speaking of accessibility, it also integrates with ComfyUI, right?
Yes.
So that's really popular for managing AI models.
Mm-hmm.
So that should make it even easier for people to kind of jump in and start creating.
Yeah, it makes it so easy for people to use.
Right.
It's like having this familiar, user-friendly workspace where you can then harness the power of Sana.
Right.
And it gets even better.
Oh, wow.
Because NVIDIA also released Lora training tools alongside Sana.
Oh?
Which means that users can actually personalize the model.
What?
They can fine-tune it to their liking.
So you can actually teach it your style?
You can teach it your own style and preferences.
So wait, so it's not just this one-size-fits-all model?
No, it's not at all.
You can actually train it?
You can train it to do whatever you want.
Wow.
If you want to specialize in photorealistic landscapes or dreamy abstract art.
You can tailor Sana to your specific vision.
Now, this is the part that I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
So Sana doesn't just understand English prompts. It works with Chinese and emojis.
Oh, yeah.
Emojis.
That's right.
Can you imagine just like typing in a bunch of emojis and it makes a picture?
It's pretty wild.
Like, what would that look like?
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more than a gimmick, though. It really speaks to this broader shift in AI where we're trying to make these tools more intuitive and human-centric.
Right. So it's literally speaking our language emojis.
Exactly.
So cool.
It's breaking down barriers. It's allowing people from different cultures and backgrounds to express themselves creatively without being limited by traditional language.
So what stands out to you most about Sana so far?
I think for me, it's the combination of accessibility and just the sheer creative power. I mean, imagine a world where anyone regardless of their background or technical expertise,
Yeah.
can create these high-quality 4K images.
Just with some simple prompts. Yeah, with just a few prompts, it's a really powerful idea and something that I think we're going to be talking about for a long time.
I think so, too. I agree. All right, so we kind of laid the groundwork here.
Yeah.
We understand kind of the basics of Santa.
Right.
We understand the potential.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to dive deeper into like the technical side of things.
Okay.
So let's explore how Santa achieves these really amazing results.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Sounds good. It's pretty amazing how Santa can create these detailed 4K images while being so efficient.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes down to this interplay between the Linear Diffusion Transformer and the Deep Compression Autoencoder.
Right. So we talked about that a little bit before, but let's dig a little bit deeper.
Okay, yeah.
So the Linear Diffusion Transformer, that's like the artist.
Right.
It's learning from all this image data.
Yeah.
But how does it actually go from that to generating a whole new image?
Yeah.
Does it like take bits and pieces from its visual library or...
That's a great question. And it gets to the heart of how these AI models work.
Okay.
So instead of just like copying and pasting elements,
Right.
the Linear Diffusion Transformer actually learns to understand the underlying structure and relationships within the images.
So it's not like memorizing faces. It's like understanding how a face is structured.
Exactly. Yeah. So think about it like learning how to draw a face.
Right.
You wouldn't just memorize every face you've ever seen.
Yeah, you'd have to understand like the shapes.
Yeah, you'd break it down into these basic shapes and features.
Yeah.
Understand how they fit together to create different expressions.
Right.
And so that's similar to what the Linear Diffusion Transformer is doing. It's learning these fundamental building blocks of images.
Mm-hmm.
So lines, shapes, textures, colors,
Right.
and then how they interact to create the visual world that we see.
Okay.
So then when you give it a prompt, it uses this knowledge to actually construct a new image
Oh, wow.
piece by piece.
So it's not just spitting out what it's already seen. It's
Yeah.
actually creating something new.
It's actually creating something totally new
Wow.
from scratch using its understanding of this visual language.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but we still have the issue of these massive 4K images, right?
Right.
So that's where the Deep Compression Autoencoder comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So remember the library analogy we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
Imagine carrying all those books around with you all the time.
Oh my God.
So the Deep Compression Autoencoder is like your super efficient librarian.
Right.
It takes all that data and it compresses it down
Wow.
to a manageable size. It's like creating a set of summaries that captures the essence of each book.
So it's not just shrinking the file size. It's actually making sure that it's keeping the most important information.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
And it does it with remarkable accuracy
Okay.
to make sure that that final image retains that visual fidelity.
That's really cool. Okay, so I'm starting to get it now.
Good.
Let's talk about Sana's ability to understand prompts in different languages.
Yeah.
Including emojis.
Yeah. It's wild.
I think that's such a game changer for creativity and accessibility.
It is. I
Yeah.
mean, for a long time, AI development was focused on English,
Mm-hmm.
which creates a barrier for people who speak other languages.
Right.
But with Sana, we're seeing this shift towards a more inclusive approach.
So you're opening up the doors of creativity to a much wider audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And emoji support adds a whole other layer of accessibility.
Yeah. Because emojis are kind of a universal language.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They transcend these cultural and linguistic boundaries.
Yeah, it's like the visual version of slang.
Exactly. They convey these complex emotions and ideas
Right.
in a very concise and playful way.
Yeah.
So being able to use those as prompts for Sana
Yeah.
really opens up all these possibilities.
Now think about like advertising and marketing. Like you could craft a whole campaign based on emojis and it would resonate with pretty much everybody around the world.
It would, yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. And it goes beyond marketing. I mean, think about education.
Oh, yeah.
Sana could be used to create these visual learning materials
Right.
that cater to different languages and learning styles.
And entertainment.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, think about all the immersive experiences you could create.
It's really mind-boggling.
Yeah, so this brings us to the question of, like, what are the implications
Yeah,
of this kind of accessibility and power?
it's a big question.
Like, how might this actually, like, reshape the creative world in the coming years?
Yeah, it's something that we need to think about more.
Yeah, but first, let's bring it back to Sana
Okay.
and talk about how our listeners can get involved.
Yeah.
So the source material mentioned that Sana is open source.
That's right.
So does that mean that anybody can access the code and experiment with it.
Yeah, NVIDIA has made the project freely available
Wow,
on GitHub, which means that anyone can access the code,
that's awesome.
experiment with it, contribute to its development.
So it's not just for like big companies anymore.
No, not at all. It's for everyone.
So anybody with the skills can get involved.
Anyone can dive in.
Wow. And what about people that aren't programmers?
Yeah, so for those who want to just get a taste of Sana
Right.
without diving into the code, NVIDIA has released this really cool demo
Oh, nice.
that lets you experiment with different prompts and see what the model can do.
So it's like a playground.
It is. It's like a playground for creativity.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure to link that in the show notes for our listeners.
Awesome.
Okay, so I want to kind of go back to what we were talking about before.
Okay.
The potential impact of Sana on the creative world.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It sparks a lot of debate.
It does.
So what do you think, like, are some people worried that this is going to overshadow human creativity?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely this concern that human creativity will be replaced
Right.
or overshadowed by AI.
Yeah.
And it's a valid concern.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of a collaboration,
Okay.
a partnership between humans and AI, like giving an artist a new set of tools.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like giving artists these incredible new tools
Yeah.
to enhance their creative process.
So instead of viewing AI as a threat, we should be viewing it as an opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to really push the boundaries of what's possible in art, in design, and storytelling.
I mean, it's a new era of creativity.
It is a new era.
It's pretty exciting, but also a little bit daunting.
It is a little daunting, but I think,
Yeah.
with a little bit of dialogue and careful consideration, we can harness the power of AI for good
Right.
and foster a future where creativity really flourishes.
All right, so before we wrap up this part of the deep dive, I want to go back to something that we talked about before.
Okay.
This idea that Sana is a tool for self-expression.
Right.
It's about empowering individuals to share their visions with the world,
It is.
even if they don't have these traditional art skills.
Yeah, it's about breaking down those barriers
Yeah,
and making creativity accessible to everyone.
I love that.
I mean, imagine a world where anyone can translate their thoughts and emotions into this stunning visual art,
Yeah.
regardless of their background or expertise.
Yeah, it's like democratizing creativity.
Exactly.
It's giving everybody a voice through images.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
And I'm really excited to see what comes out of it. Well, that's a perfect transition into the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We've explored the technical intricacies of Sana.
Yeah.
We've delved into its potential to change these creative industries.
Mm-hmm.
And we've touched upon some broader societal implications.
For sure.
So where do we go from here? What does this mean for like the future of digital art and design?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like we're at the very beginning of something completely new.
Yeah, like we can only see little pieces of what's to come.
Exactly.
But it's pretty clear that AI, especially with tools like Sana becoming so accessible, is going to be a major force in like shaping the future.
Absolutely.
Like it's almost like a modern day renaissance, but fueled by AI.
I love that analogy.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
it's so cool.
And just like the Renaissance led to this explosion of creativity, I think we're on the verge of something similar, but powered by AI.
But there are some big questions that we have to deal with, right?
For sure.
Like how do we even deal with things like ownership and authorship when AI is part of the creative process?
Yeah, those are really tough questions.
Yeah.
Things that we as a society have to figure out.
Yeah.
As AI gets more sophisticated, the lines get blurrier,
Right.
and we need to come up with some new rules and guidelines.
It's like we're making it up as we go.
Exactly, we are.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's an exciting time to be alive.
It is. It's a technological revolution
Yeah.
that's not just changing creative industries. It's
Yeah.
changing how we think about technology and its impact on society.
It's a little scary, too.
It can be a little bit daunting, but
Okay.
I think if we're thoughtful about it, we can harness this power for good.
Right. And I think at its heart, Sana is really about self-expression, right?
It is.
Like it's about giving people the power to share their vision with the world,
Absolutely.
even if they don't have like traditional art skills.
It's about breaking down those barriers
Mhm.
and making creativity something everyone can do.
I love that.
I mean, imagine a world where anyone can turn their thoughts and feelings into art,
Yeah.
no matter who they are or where they come from.
It's amazing.
That's the power of Sana.
So it's like democratizing creativity.
Yeah.
Everyone has a voice through images.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into NVIDIA's Sana.
Yeah,
It's been an incredible journey,
it has.
exploring all these possibilities and potential implications of this incredible technology.
It's amazing what they've accomplished.
Yeah, so as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
What new doors will open for creativity now that tools like Sana are available to everyone?
Yeah, how is this going to change the creative landscape in the years to come?
We encourage you to keep thinking about these questions.
And share your thoughts with us.
We can't wait to see what you create.